Okay, I like this expression. That's a distinction without a difference. Okay, well, that's a distinction without a difference. Well, isn't that a distinction without a difference? Right, that's how you would say it. Okay, so a distinction without a difference. Okay, so you're basically saying, you're pointing out some way where they're distinct from each other, and you're implying that it's different, and the other person will say, no, that's a distinction without a difference. It means it's actually no different. Okay, and it's a kind of a logical fallacy. Okay, no, it is a logical fallacy. Okay, but I think the best way to show this and to teach this is to give some examples. Okay, and it's real. What we're really talking about most of the time is uh, differences in words. They're usually talking about the meaning of words. Okay, so I didn't tell a lie. I'm just was not so generous with the truth, right? Something like that. I stretched the truth, right? But really, it's a lie, right? So let's take a look at what I got set up here. Okay, maybe I should make this a little bigger, maybe. Okay, can I go full screen with this? That doesn't make it any better. Okay, well, I'm trying to make it as big as possible for you guys. Okay, so I didn't lie. I merely stretched the truth a little bit. So we're talking about so you know, the kid comes in and you know, he's late. So the mom says, "You said you were going to be home at 5 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock." And he says, "I didn't lie. I merely stretched the truth a little bit, right?" Or you know, um, so something like that. Okay, so this is something interesting that I've found that Japanese people will say. They have this thing called tatemae, which really is telling a lie. Okay, hang on, here we go. Got another ambulance. The ambulances know when I'm making a video. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about this word tatemae, which is a Japanese word, but it's setting up this explanation that I'm going to give you about this English expression. All right, so I said to my ex-girlfriend, who worked for a big company, "Why are you going? Why are you going to Nagasaki?" And she said, "Well, the tatemae reason is that we're going on a business meeting. We're having a business meeting. The hone reason is that we are having a going away party." Okay, well, yeah, but they put this label on it like tatemae, like wink wink. Isn't this, you know, it's not really lying. It's just, you know, we want to, you know, sort of keep this keep it cool and keep it a little secret, right? Because it's actually like fraud, right? Because they are paying for their trips to go down to Nagasaki, right? And companies paying for that. But if you told the investors, hey, we're paying for this sort of non-business reason, the investors would say, no, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't spend our money like that, right? Or even like for tax purposes, you know, they're claiming that as a business expense, but they're really going down for they're really going down for a going away party for one of the staff, and that's like totally not a required business expense that you could use deduct from your profits, right? Okay, but they have this thing called tatemae, so it's not really a lie. No, it's tatemai, which sounds kind of culture-y and, you know, so clever, right? So anyway, let's go back to this example I got set for you. So I find that this happened a few times, okay? That the conversations that I had with Japanese people. Well, we Japanese are not liars. We just sometimes don't tell the truth to avoid being embarrassed. I've heard that so many times. Young female American sociologists have given it a convenient, warm, fuzzy, culturally sounding name called saving face. The American guy says, that's a distinction without a difference. It's just a goddamn lie. The Japanese person says, I don't like you. Anyway, only white people can be called liars. Asian people can only save face. And then they got this gong, you know, this gong playing, right, which sort of makes it sound kind of culture-y and okay, right? You just don't understand our culture. There was an American guy who, no, he was British. He was British, and he took over as a CEO of this Japanese company. And he started looking around, and he started noticing where all of this money is going, right? Like, why are we sending money over there and putting it in this shell company over there? And, it was called the Olympus scandal. You can look it up. And so they said, the board said, you're fired. You don't understand Japanese culture, right? Because he started asking too many questions, right? So, because he's kind of like, well, isn't this like fraud? Like we're hiding all of this money over here, and we're actually pumping up the numbers to try to make it look like we're inflating our numbers to make it look like we're profitable, but we're really not. Isn't that like dishonest? No, it's you just don't understand. It's not that. We're not lying. No, you just don't understand Japanese culture, right? So, anyway, it's a kind of a distinction without a difference. Okay. So let's go back to what I got set up here. This is stop criticizing the Japanese for a while. All right. So now we're going to attack wine snobs. Okay. A wine snob is somebody who has a lot of knowledge of wine, but they look down on people like me who just drink yellowtail, or, just a regular high. It's actually good quality wine, but if it's not expensive, then they just think that you don't have any class. All right, so we got a wine snob. Let's make this WS. All right. I'm not a wine snob. I simply have a belief that my knowledge and taste for wine is more developed than the average person. That's a distinction without a difference. You're a stone cold snob. All right. Okay. So here we go. We're going to criticize the U.S. government. FBI. Now this actually happened. The U.S. government absolutely does not infringe upon anyone's rights to free speech. We simply suggested that Twitter, Google, and YouTube delete certain posts or information because we felt they were misinformation. Congress, that's a distinction without a difference. That's the government controlling what can be said. And that's true. Okay, now let's go criticize China for a while. All right. So this is a really good example. So China so this is said by Anthony Blinken, who I hate, China considering providing lethal support to aid Russian invasion of Ukraine. So then China says, oh, no, we're not, but we can't control what, or they're going to say private companies might do that, but, but of course, the Chinese government has control over what private companies do. So it's a distinction without a difference.
The U.S. said China was considering providing lethal aid to Russia. But so far it says that hasn't happened. But it has said it's worried about private Chinese companies doing so, which in China is kind of a distinction without a difference. Chinese companies, even if they're privately owned, are all under the control of the Chinese Communist Party. If the party wants Chinese companies to do something, they'll do it. And speaking of the war in Ukraine,
Okay, I'm worried that there's going to be like an echo. Okay, but we'll see. Okay. So that's a good example of a distinction without a difference, right? So the Chinese government is not actually providing help to Russia, right? But private companies might, they're saying, no, we're not going to do it. But private companies might do that, right? So it's a distinction without a difference. And I actually sort of don't really want to get too political with these videos, but I'm trying to point to famous things, right, that you'll all sort of understand, right? Like relationships, things that happen in the government, things that happen in the news, you know. So anyway, I will talk to you on the next idiom.